What's up, everybody? Coach CeeLo here, and welcome to the No Bullshit Six Figure Sales Podcast. Man, I'm excited about the guests we have here today. You know, we're always trying to hit different industries, and we've got our crowd from the car sales industry. So I've got a very, very special guest. This gentleman is like the Delta Force in the automotive industry. When something's wrong, they call him in. It could be an underperforming store. It could be a store that's below underperforming. And they call him in. He fixes it. And 90 days or less, you've got a President's Club organization, or well on their way to a President's Club organization. So I'm really excited to have him here. Without any further ado, Mr. Hugh Okoye. Hugh, how you doing, brother?
Fantastic, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate this.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here. Typically, I like to just jump in. Obviously, you're a person that's very successful at what you do, and they'll start figuring it out as you start talking.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love is the story arc of how Hugh Okoye became Hugh Okoye, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about, your past and how you got to where you are right now?
All right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, probably if you ask 100 guys who are in the car business selling cars, why they started selling cars, they're going to say, 90 of them are going to say it's because I was broke. I was broke. 10% say I planned it, but they're lying. Probably 90% of those guys are lying, but most of them are saying was, I was broke. I had responsibilities. I had a wife to take care of, or a girlfriend to take care of. I had kids, right? That's why I got into sales. There's always that one person. For me, my defining moment came when I graduated from college, civil engineer, moved to Toronto, Canada, who was my girlfriend at the time, trying to figure out how to make a living. Come to find out that, hey, listen, being a civil engineer in Toronto, Canada in the wintertime is no joke, okay? Number one, jobs are hard to find, and they didn't pay very well.
Right.
So a chance meeting with a young man, went to his house for a party, pulled up to this guy's house. This guy's house is beautiful. He has all these cars parked up front. I'm like, what does he do for a living? Says, he runs a Honda dealership down the street. I say, he does what? He sells cars? And lives like this? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my pride in my back pocket because I have responsibilities, man. Right? Walked up to him, introduced myself to him, asked him if he was hiring. He says, come see me Monday morning. We'll talk a little bit more. Went down to his office, the only suit I had, right? It was actually wintertime, so it had been snowing.
Oh, wow.
Right? Wintertime snowed. I literally took the bus to get there, got in there, interviewed with a guy. He says, listen, I give you a shot. I embellished on the truth just a little bit, maybe, in order to get through the door. I had zero experience in sales. The last time I just sold anything was when I was 16 years old on High Street in Walthamstow, England, as a kid.
Wow.
Right?
And you told him that. You were honest.
I told him, and I was like, you know what? Okay, all right. I usually look for guys with a little bit more experience because my store is a tough store. Most of the guys are, 20, 30 years older than you. But you know what? We'll give it a shot. All right. I walk in there. The guy says to me, hey, here's a pay plan. If you do this, you make this. If you hit this number, you get a demo. I said, what? Demo what? You get a car. I'll give you a car to drive if you can do 15 plus cars a month. So I went to work. I wore the same suit pretty much every day, man. Changed a shirt.
Did he give you a script?
I changed my shirt.
Did he show you how to do it?
Nope.
Or was it just
They
go out there and go get him?
Threw you in. Back then, these guys, I'm 63 now, right? Those cats back there, I was 23 years old, and these guys were in their 50s. They wouldn't speak to me. They wouldn't help me. They wouldn't give me the time of day. And I finally pulled one of the guys aside and says, listen, why is it so hard for guys to communicate with you here? Why doesn't anyone want to even know my name? Because they don't think you're going to make it. Because you're just like the last guy, the other green pea. All right? So if you make it past 30 days, then they want to know your name. Then they'll start talking to you, right? So needless to say, in the first 30 days, I got my demo, driving my car, making my money. And quite frankly, I never looked back. Never looked back. And here it is, 30-something years later. I'm still doing it. flirted with the idea. Nelson can attest to this. My man Nelson over here can say, listen, there are times I walked away from the business. I retired under his watch when I worked with him. And in retirement, it gave me a chance to step away from the business, then made me realize that I could reinvent myself because I just wanted to have more time. You can make all the money in the world that you want, but if you don't have the time to spend it and enjoy it with the people that you love,
100%. Doing
the things that you love, guess what? It ain't worth it, right? So I literally stepped away from the business. And then my wife says, hey, why don't you, she saw me going crazy. 90 days later, I mean, we had a wonderful life. We traveled overseas. We bought a home in Spain, which is where she's at right now with the kids. So we did all these things that we wanted to do, but then very quickly I got the edge again. It's a drug. I'm sorry. Right. Sales is a drug. I don't care what anyone says. It's legit something that it's hard to get out of your system. So I reinvented myself. So I decided to go back to stores and start rebuilding them, fixing them. It's a 6-month gig at the most, and still give them a chance to work hard, enjoy, and do what I enjoy doing, which at this point in life is passing on to those who deserve the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And give myself a chance to enjoy it while enjoying my life with my family as well.
Beautiful.
You know.
So I got a couple questions there.
Go for it.
The first part is, so 0 sales since you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
They just throw you out there, and on the very first month, you nail 15 cars and you got your demo.
Yeah.
Right? Was it just gift of gab? Was it persistence, determination? I mean, because at that point there wasn't any training, there wasn't any personal development.
There's no internet. There's no internet. I know you guys can imagine life without internet. There was no internet. Okay? There's nothing like that. So for me, it was learn the product. I just had to make sure that I knew the product the best. I make sure when we did the demo route, I just followed the process. I literally just followed the process. I trusted in the process.
FTDM, follow the damn, or FTDS, follow the damn system.
Exactly. So I followed the process. And for me, the process back then wasn't a book. It was on you to read it. There was no trainer. There's no one following to make sure you made it. You either made it or you didn't. I'm giving you everything you need. Just go ahead and read the book. The process, ABC, 1, 2, 3, always be closing, 10 steps to the sale. That was it. Okay. And the meet and greet. Welcome to my name is and your name is. Right. That was it. Right. And after that, personality. That's all I had. Well,
it was enough.
It was enough. And here we are many, many moons later. There's still something left.
Now, walk me from the story arc of, so now you're starting to sell, right? Clearly, you start getting good at it.
Yeah.
Did you at any point get mentored by somebody? Was there ever a time when you said, you know what, maybe I'm going to take this shit serious now, right? And then from there to how you went into management.
Yes. All right. That's a good one. There was a mentor. Everyone thought he was actually a general manager. He was way under the height limit, but he had a personality that was 7 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? This guy's ego was out of this world.
A Napoleon.
100%. And I'm going to say his name. I hope he never hears this.
Uh-oh.
His name is Terry Angoy. Okay? Terry Angoy, Guyanese guy in Toronto, Canada. And this guy, for some reason, because I was reckless, all right? For some reason, saw something there in this crazy kid and took the time to mentor me. He was brutal. He was hard. He was harsh, right? That was just his way. A lot of guys couldn't handle it. They left. They quit. They couldn't handle Terry. He's such a, right? But he mentored me. And even to this day, I'll still call him every once in a while because he's still alive, never got out of business. Even at this age, he's still doing leasing. He's worked for a leasing company in Toronto, Canada. But I never failed to call him every once in a while to say, hey, buddy, how you doing? Thanks again.
Wow.
But Terry, he showed me how to do it. He laid the bricks because he says, Hugh, it's as simple as this. If you don't have the foundation, you'll never, ever reach the top. Okay? If you want to do what I do, you have to have the foundation. Don't do what these guys are doing. These guys will not be in this business in 6 months from now. They're in here. They're going to make a quick hit. There'll be 90-day wonders. First time I heard that term. They're going to be 90-day wonders, and they're going to be gone. They'll be looking for the next easy thing to do. and stuck it out. Followed him from from one Honda store to a second Honda store. He helped me, guided me. I got a couple accolades, a couple recognitions along the way. Walk around champion for the city of Toronto for the Honda product. Had a chance to travel to Vegas. My first trip to Vegas probably wasn't a good idea to send me on my first trip to Vegas for such an important competition. Needless to say,
how old were you at that time?
At this time, I'm 24 years old.
Woo!
Needless to say, I showed up at the competition with the best of the best from Canada and the U.S., and I freaking choked. I choked. I was still a little hungover from the night before, and I choked. And I went back and he said, you know something? We had bets going whether or not you choke or not. But then we had, all the money was on why you would choke.
Oh, wow.
What caused you to choke? Because we know it wouldn't have been a product. We know it wouldn't have been a process. But we figured you'd probably stay up all night party and then you probably just choke just because of that. All right. Needless to say, that's exactly what happened.
Right.
He was right. He was always right. The damn man was always right. We hate him for it, but he's always right. You know? But yeah, that's, and then moving forward, my first shot at management came when I was working in Central Florida. Another mentor, Bill Kennedy, Mike Erdman Toyota, great mentor. He gave me a shot. And I was always fortunate that I always found myself in a position where I found mentors who helped me to get to the next position, to the next level. Bill started me. I spent years working for him. I finally went to Orlando to work with the Jimmy Bryan organization. Another great mentor, Ed Leon, who's still my dear friend to this day. He gave me more opportunities. And after that, I just kind of didn't look back. Spent years in finance, doing finance, years as director of sales and marketing.
Important, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the track.
Yeah.
All right, so rep,
Yeah.
top selling rep, F&I next?
You got, no, actually, closer.
Okay.
Okay, they became the closer. You got a team of guys working under you. You close all their deals for them.
We call them TOs in timeshare.
TOs, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. As a matter of fact, a lot of guys who were closers and TOs in Orlando who worked with me segued right into your industry.
Okay.
And did very well.
Yeah.
Roberto Santos, to this day, he's still doing it. Doing very well, okay? The next step after closer was finance. Because before you made it to the desk, which is where it all happens, right? Mm-hmm. It was important to have finance experience so you could know how to structure a deal. Know which banks would buy which deals could get done, right? And just understand the craft involved with finance. After the desk will be general sales manager to general manager. And from there on, ownership. Yeah, ownership.
I know that a lot of the sales guys, a lot of their goals, all of them, when you talk to them, or a lot of them is F&I. That's like because that's where the money's at, right?
That's where the money's at.
Is it, because I know it's a grind,
yeah.
Right? There's a lot of hours involved. Yeah. I'm assuming maybe as you go up, you get a little bit of breathing room, right?
Yeah.
But in F&I, are you still grinding as much as everybody else?
You still have your moments, but if you sat down and figure out the number of hours that these guys are in front of a customer and the money they make for their time, the good guys, it's mind-blowing. If I were to do it all over again and I just didn't feel I want to be in a certain spot where I know I'm making great money every month and I'm making, $200,000, $300,000 a year, then there are guys who have done crazy money like that month. But that's where you stay. You stay in finance. Why? Because it's just you and the customer. The deal's already sold. All you're doing is finishing the paperwork and bumping for products. And you don't have to worry about the follow-up after that. Someone else does that. So yeah. It's the follow-up after the sale is tedious. So for these guys, for what they do, you can afford to be, I'm going to say this, there are probably guys who will disagree with me, but you can be lazy. I said it. I'm going to put it out there, all right? You can be lazy, be a great finance manager, make a couple $100,000 a year, and not have any headaches.
But it's also a very small funnel, right? Because how many finance managers are in a dealership, depending on the size, I assume, right?
Depending on the size. Ideally, you want your guys touching 45 to 55 car deals a month. They're making money. They're really happy. Okay. Of course, it depends on the kind of store. If you're in a high-end store, less than that. You know, you go to a lot of Lamborghini stores and they'll have one finance guy, maybe two finance guys, or maybe a general manager, sales manager who plays both roles. Right. You find a lot of that. Reason being, they don't have the volume. Well, those guys make they make unbelievable money.
Hell yeah.
Right? Unbelievable money. And then you go to a Toyota store, like I was brought up in, where we'd have 8 finance managers.
Wow.
But we're doing 1,000 cars a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the average always was, at a peak, we were probably doing between us all maybe 100, 125 cars each, deals each. And that's a lot of deals for a finance manager. Anyone who's in business will share that with you. That's a lot. You can't maximize your opportunities. But that's the way it was back then. You know, you work till 2 a.m, and then you go out to 6, and you go home, you get changed for work, you get back to work, and you start all over again.
Sweet.
You know, that's the way it was.
So I want to go 2 routes with you here.
Yeah.
One route is the individual, and then
Yeah.
the other route is the team.
Okay.
Right? Just to put it into context, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the No Bullshit Six Figure Sales
Mm-hmm.
podcast, which means that everybody who listens to this podcast is either an entrepreneur who's running some type of an offer or something. So they're
Mm-hmm.
selling by themselves or with a short team, a small
Mm-hmm.
team, or it's a salesperson. And most
Mm-hmm.
of them have they're either trying to hit 6 figures, or they hit 6 figures, but they haven't been able to be consistent. Or maybe they're a 6-figure guy, but they're trying to hit multiple 6 figures. So
Yeah.
they're getting stuck at certain
Yeah.
points, right?
Yeah.
So being that you are the turnaround guy,
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've got processes for the teams,
Yeah.
but you also have processes for people,
Yeah.
right? What kind of advice would you give to someone who maybe is having a little bit of difficulty, or maybe they're not bad,
Mm-hmm.
they're just not where they want to be,
Mm-hmm.
that they could start working on their craft, and especially even more so in the car industry?
Okay. The first thing I would say to that is find a mentor. Find a mentor. Surround yourself with people who are successful at what they're doing. Find those people and stick to them. Find a mentor, because you know what? You don't have all the answers. I keep telling guys, I tell my sales team that every day. Ego. Don't let your ego get in the way of your pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Or your wallet. That's certain death. Okay? Finding the right person, and then you know who they are. It's just like, let me reverse that. For people who have their business where they have a team, look at your team. Who are you making excuses for? Right? Who is holding you back? And you know they're holding you back, but because something inside, you think you can find a way to save them. You know you've tried. You know you've tried to mentor. You know you've tried to train. You know it's not a knowing problem. It's mostly a doing problem for them. Okay? You have to make a hard decision. That hard decision can save your business. Okay? Second thing is, because there are dealerships that have guys who have been there for 20 years. They've survived for 20 years. Okay? They've been stuck in a rut for 20 years. They just don't know it. Okay? And there's nothing that you can do as a leader to change people like that, because until they find a need internally, intrinsically, to make that change for themselves,
Right.
they're going to remain the same person. They'll change, and they'll fall right back into that little shallow
Comfort
hole,
zone.
the comfort zone. Because no one's comfortable being uncomfortable, right? On the flip side to that is, when you have an individual who's running his own show, and this is something else I tell my sales teams, you have to embrace the fact that you are the CEO of your own business. A lot of us start a business, but we don't understand or appreciate the full depth of what we're doing. Your success or failure lies completely on your ability to perform. You can't leave it up to someone else. There's no one that you can hire or bring into your team who can know your business better than yourself. Okay? That's how people lose your opportunities in life.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to know your business better than the next person. You have to be prepared to get in the trenches, deeper in the trenches than any of your employees could ever do. I mean, when we hear a story about Elon Musk sleeping on the office on the floor of his factory for months at a time when SpaceX was getting started.
Yep.
That is no joke, right? That's commitment.
And no one else is doing it.
And no one else is doing it, right? I mean, I can think of a lot of names, and I can't think of any of them making that level of commitment to their business, but look where the man's at today.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, we have to also always remember that what is the prize? What is the trophy? What is the goal? What is the ultimate goal for you and your business and for your team? Because your team have to get you there. They have to know what the goal is. You have to share. They have to drink the Kool-Aid every day.
The vision.
They have to have the vision. If they don't share your vision, they can't be a part of your team. They can't be there for just the money. They have to be there for your vision. I remember this report, maybe 2021, maybe, that said that 70% of billionaires, the first job was in sales. Okay? And the report also said that 70% of billionaires are self-made. Okay? So these were all guys who were selling high-ticket items, whatever it may be, whether it was timeshare, whatever that interaction with sales was, that created that foundation for them. Some of them lucky breaks, some of them being in the right place at the right time, some of them working for it and grinding for it every single day to have a life for themselves and their families that other people dream of. But it started with sales of some form or the other. I don't care what you say. When you go to a ballot to vote, somebody sold you.
Yep.
Okay? You met a master salesperson. You watch a master salesperson. You drank the Kool-Aid, you walked in and voted for him. All right? It doesn't matter what happens after that. He got your vote. Okay? So this world is run by salespeople who are always closing. ABC, right? Always be closing. They're always closing. So for me, at this point in my career, I understand that now. I didn't understand that when I was a kid, right? I didn't understand that when I was running around. But I make sure that I share that with every single person that I meet who are starting in the business, who've been in the business for a while, or been in the business for 20 years. Because I can't assume someone shared that with them, right? So I make sure I share that. You are your own CEO. Yes, you work for me. You're in this dealership. But we provide a great building for you to work in. We pay millions of dollars for the inventory for you. We pay for your computers, the phones. You don't have to worry about anything. This is the best business you could ever have. But it's important that you see yourself as being the CEO of your own business. And that applies to any other industry where sales is involved, right?
Absolutely.
Treat it like the CEO of your own business. Your follow-up, your attention to your product, your attention to your customers, your people, okay? And attention to your process. And once again, it's the 3 Ps, right? You've got to take ownership of that and become the CEO of your own business. Every single morning, I take my guys in a room and I show them reports from GM. I show them where they're at in comparison to our competition, because they need to know. They need to embrace that. They need to know what their competition is doing, because that's what CEOs do, right?
Yep.
Anything that I can share with them that can make them feel or grasp that concept, they're going to get it. They're going to get it. And that's one of the secrets, I think, to being able to turn stores around very quickly, is sharing that information and letting everyone become accountable for their own performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from what I've gathered so far,
Yeah.
you come in with a vision.
Yeah.
Now, that could be a little difficult because when you have that guy that's been entrenched for 20 years, those are usually the hardest ones to, well, I got my system, I got my way of doing it. They're not going to want to, but they don't have a choice, right? There's a new sheriff in town, and so you got to follow the vision of the new sheriff.
Well, put it this way. If you're getting paid to do a job and you have these pockets that are resistive, don't want to make that, I just say to them, look, I'm going to get paid no matter what. I have a contract to do a job. I'm going to get paid no matter what. And I don't say in a egotistical way at all, because I don't get along with egos very well, right? I appreciate egos, but I'm not one of them. Okay.
Right.
But I have a job to do. And I'm not saying I have the magic wand, but I have this little process that seems to work. Okay?
It's worked before.
It's worked before,
Probably
once or
gonna work
twice.
again.
It'll probably work again, right? It seems to work. So that person who's resistive, I'll say, listen, I'll pull them aside. This is not a group thing. I pull them aside and say, listen, bro, or listen, man. We have a job to do, okay? You guys have been doing it your way for a really, really, really long time. And unfortunately, that's why I'm here. So what I need for you to do is trust in the process. Believe in me, your owner did not make a mistake. But what I need you to do, because I know, first thing I need to know from you, if it's a knowing problem or a doing problem. So don't feel awkward if I'm sharing stuff with you that you think, you've known for years. Just work with me on this, okay? I'm going to share my process with you. We're going to work my process. Let's just try it. Try it for 90 days. If it doesn't work for you, I understand. There's a lot of places where you can go work. A lot of places. But I need for you to give it a shot and trust in the process. Okay? We'll sit weekly. We'll talk weekly. You share with me what your thoughts are. And, I share with you what my thoughts are. Right? So it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, if someone gets up in my face and they says, "Oh, this is BS," whatever. No, I'm saying, are you quitting? Are you quitting? Where things are going, I probably am. I say, well, I gladly accept your resignation. Thank you. It's been good having you here. Goodbye. All right? That's how you have to do it. Because ultimately, at the end of it all, I have a job to do. And I'm not saying, once again, I do not know it all. But it's super important that everyone's on board. If they're not on board, they're gonna sink the ship.
Yeah.
They're gonna sink the ship. If they're not willing to at least try it and embrace a new way of doing business, they're gonna sink the ship. And it's not fair to my owners who hired me to do a job to allow one or two people to sink that ship.
One bad apple. Yeah.
You got it.
Would you say that when you come in, all right, so get them into the vision, then people, process, and procedures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of mindset involved in this, or is it just numbers, non-numbers, remedial training, non-remedial training, in or out?
I love your questions, man. Every day is mindset. Because, if there's one thing that can destroy someone's productivity and ability to do their jobs, it's their mindset, right? So every day starts with engaging what's between those two ears. So 100%.
And those 6 inches in between.
100%. And, and it goes beyond that, doesn't it? Because here you are, you're motivating, you're encouraging, you're lifting. And then one day they see the results. One day they see the results in their wallets or purses, and they go, I get it. The light turns on. You see the enthusiasm. You see the quickness in your step. You see them make an extra 10 calls a day. All right? You see that almost a rebirth, if you will.
Right.
Okay? That's when I know I'm winning.
And now you've got an evangelist. You've got one. Now you got one on your side of the
There
team,
you go. Exactly. But you're right. The mindset is everything, especially when you walk into a business where everyone's been beat down. They may have managers who talk to them like crap. They may have a situation where pay plans change every 3 months. They have no inventory. So all the negatives and, sales. Sometimes there are those of us who hold on to the negatives. They'll complain about the weather. They'll complain about this before they look at the glasses actually half full. The market's terrible. That's great for us because I love it when no one is selling cars. You know why? That gives me an opportunity to catch up with the big guys. If we can put just a little bit more effort into every single day, if we can just be 1% better at everything we do every single day, we'll catch them. So I love it when the market's doing badly.
I love what you just said. I was listening to a Hermosi podcast the other day, and he was saying, who the hell said that you had to listen to industry standards anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I love industry standards because that gives me a chance to beat everybody else, because everybody else is just focused on what the standards.
Yes.
Who the hell said the standards are what you have to shoot for?
You're right.
And so it gives the small guy a chance to get past it. You said exactly that, you know,
Yep.
so that's very cool.
Yeah, it's very true.
So let's change it up. Let's talk. Tell me some crazy stories of things that you've seen happen in the car business, because I know you've got some, man.
How much time do we have?
As much as you like.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. There's some cool stories and there's some not so cool stories. And I got to keep them. We are alive, right? I got to keep them clean relatively. Don't know who's listening. We've had multiple incidents of guys trying to finesse us, trying to steal cars.
What?
Right? That goes, I mean, we had in Orlando, we had a local gang in Orlando, whose rite of passage for the kids, and we're talking 12, 13 years old, their rite of passage was to steal a car off the lot. Not just steal a car off the lot. Not when we're closed and everyone's home, you know, and it's safe, right? They stole the cars after the cars came out, cars that were sold, getting ready to be delivered to a customer. Detail will bring the cars up. They park the cars up front, and they leave the car running. AC wants to be blowing cold, so when the customer gets in there, it's a comfortable environment, right? Everything's
Radio's
cool.
playing.
And these kids would sneak in between the cars and getting those cars and just drive them off the lot. We'll never see them
Just
again.
take them for a joyride or something?
No. Those cars end up getting stripped out. And yeah, that was their thing, their rite of passage. So we had to change our whole process because of these kids. Another one was these cars, they call them the Dodge made. They call them what? Hellcats. We call them hell something else. We couldn't keep on the lot. People would ride over the rails in them trying to steal them. They pull in the middle of the day. We caught a kid halfway in the car, grabbed him by his legs, trying to get into the back window to steal the car off the lot. Right? We're inside. We have cameras and we're watching cameras and going, what the hell? They pull up, then they reverse. The guy gets out, breaks the back window, and starts getting into the back seat. And my guy runs across it. He was there. Runs across the lot and grabs this kid by his feet as he's trying to get in the back seat to steal the car. Oh man, Nelson's shaking his head. He knows. It's crazy what we and then there's another side where we've had situations where I can't talk about that, guys. I wish I could. We'll talk off the air about that one, but that one's pretty crazy. But and then there have been crazy things where, you know, we work hard. We spend a lot of hours at work. We spend more hours at work than we do with our own fams,
to
right?
To be quite honest, I think that out of all of the sales jobs that I know of, I think that the car guys are the ones who put in the most amount of hours, hands down, than anyone else I know. 100%.
Yeah, and you know, and we joke and we say, "Oh man, I'm going to die doing this job," but they're literally. We had a guy when my brother Nelson here and I worked together where he, one of his predecessors, he went out in his car, drive home. We were wrapping up, closing the dealership down. We got his car still running. Sure enough, man.
Heart attack right in the
Had
car.
a heart attack right in the car, getting ready to go home.
It's stress, you know?
Yeah, it's stress. But another dear friend of mine, Donnie, many years ago, Donnie had 6 kids. He was from Idaho or something like that. Customer runs out of gas in the middle of an intersection. He gets out to push the car.
Oh.
You know, so when I tell you that you have to have a balance in your life, sales will consume you. The thrill of the sale can consume you.
It's definitely like a drug, for sure.
Definitely like a drug. You got to have that balance. I mean, every funny story that I can think of in the car business, and there's so many of them. I mean, gee whiz, so many of them. It always comes back. The things that have gone wrong are things that have been helped if we had a little bit more balance in our lives. You know,
there's a little bit of an occupational hazard because of the stress. All right,
a little bit of occupational hazard. I would say so.
Let's break some stigmas, man.
Okay.
Because I'm so freaking tired. I'm always breaking stigmas when it comes to sales. I set people straight all the time. Yes, there are some bad actors everywhere. Yes, people with the gift of gab sometimes will flower things a
Of
little more
course,
than
elaborate
they should,
slightly.
right?
Yeah.
But that's not what our job is.
No, not at all.
I've always said that sales is simply helping the person overcome the largest obstacle that they're going to have, which is themselves.
Of course.
Right? And
of course.
And guess what? If they hadn't have met you, they wouldn't have overcome that obstacle. Be it, some type of high ticket program.
Yeah.
Be it maybe the car that they felt that they deserved and they kept leaving it for later and later. And maybe you convinced them to do it. And who knows? Maybe he is that guy that has the heart attack a year later.
Yeah.
But you know what? He was riding in that car he always wanted for that year.
Yeah. That's a great point. I mean, I always tell people, and first of all, I train my guys that the first thing you have to do when you're interviewing your customer and doing your needs assessment is you need to find out what disturbed their apathy. Right? That's the first step. Because once you figure out what disturbed their apathy, you have an unfair advantage. Okay? High ticket sales is like that. You got to figure out what disturbed the customer's apathy, what drove them to have an interest in this high ticket item. And once you figure out exactly what that was, you have an unfair advantage, no matter the price of the product. When you have customers walking into the door for the first time and they're spending $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 on a 5, 6, 7 year commitment, you can't do that with a great deal of success unless you've mastered the art of figuring out what disturbed their apathy. I tell these guys, if you see a gentleman walking with his daughter and it's May, doesn't take much to figure out why he's there, right? Okay? Understand that the happiest day in a man's life is the day he gets married, not divorced. Well, sometimes too,
it could
right?
be both.
But it could be both. It could be both, right? Kind of like on a boat, right? But the day he gets married, and quite frankly, when his kids get born. But there's another important time when he has the opportunity to buy his children their first car. Okay? When I have a father sitting in front of me with that child, I'm always the first to say, what did she do to deserve this? And then I let them talk. Oh, she got straight A's, kept out of trouble. She, played for a varsity softball team. She got a full ride, blah, blah, blah. She's probably saving me $40,000 a year for the next 4 years. And I look at her and says, you really deserve this car. And I can tell you right now, as a father, there's nothing that would give me more pleasure than what your dad's doing right now for you. And usually that strikes an emotional chord. Understand that most of sales is driven by emotion. The master high ticket item salesperson knows how to sell with emotion. The master salesperson for automotive industries is the guy who learns to sell with emotion. You can't deny that. Okay? My car lot's filled, any car lot's filled with used cars, filled with perfectly good cars that people traded. Still under manufacturer's warranty, perfect cars. Why did they trade a perfectly good car? Was it a want or a need?
It's a want.
It's a want.
100%.
And want and emotion go hand in hand. Right? So once you understand how you can use emotion to drive that customer to make a decision, all bets are off. You can't count the money. All bets are off.
And then you sprinkle a little logic just to keep it in.
Oh yeah, just to justify the numbers, right? Right? It's just a justification at that point in time.
Yeah.
But emotional selling for me is by far the strongest form of sales that exists. Right? I mean, once again, let's go back to these, whether it be politicians or everyone else. They use emotion. They get you stirred up.
Yep.
They drive you to the poll stations based on emotion and logic. They sprinkle logic there, but they sell the emotion. They get you all wrapped up. They get you all hot and bothered, right? And then you make that decision.
You ever read the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays? So
yes.
It's all about the enemy,
yes.
right? Focus on everything that we don't like.
Yes.
And that gives you that cult-like following. You know what I mean?
You see, and how many times has that been played out in history?
Whew.
With what result?
And will continue
The
to work.
same result every single time.
It works.
Success.
It works.
It works. It works. So why not? I mean, propaganda, and you look at the word propaganda for what it is, it evokes thoughts of negativity, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's propaganda.
It's a spin.
Oh, that's a spin, you know. Oh, you think about, you know, our more mature listeners will understand that how propaganda was used during the wars, okay, to either lift or emotionally depress people.
Right.
Okay? That's what propaganda was used for, right? A lot before even the first bomb was dropped, leaflets were dropped. Propaganda designed to instill fear, indecision, and suspicion of their own people.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay? That was propaganda. It still works to this day. There's a spin. Now we have to use that word propaganda and turn it around to work for us.
Well, my thing is, you know, the No Bullshit brand is actually part of a bigger thing. There's a book I'm working on, which I'm going to call Everything is Bullshit, right? and it's not cynical. It's not, even though it sounds cynical. It's not. But the point to it is that there's a spin everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is a spin.
For sure.
So if everything is a spin, then just choose the one that best serves you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
for sure.
it.
For sure.
The minute you go to a supermarket, and there's a reason why there are certain things at eye level.
Yeah.
That's there.
That's it.
Every time you drive,
it's intention.
You're taking the same road to
Yeah.
work every day. You're seeing the same damn ads.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're the color that they are, the copy that's written. So if everything is designed to catch your attention and to leave the little seeds in your mind, well, you know it's already happening, right? You might as well choose the ones that best serve you so that you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah, you're right. And then we're going to break it down one step further.
Sure.
So you have an individual who never made it through high school, can barely read and write, okay? And then you put him in a sales environment and you hand him a phone. You teach him a script and he masters that. Then all of a sudden he's making 6 figures a year. Then you look again, he's making 7 figures a year because now you just handed him what?
A chance, hope.
Right? Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter that you're a terrible student. It doesn't matter to this day you can't send a text. You got to speak into your phone because you know what? I can't spell it. And I don't want people to think of me differently because of the way I spell or don't write properly. Okay? It gives you an intention. Something that no one can take from you. This is someone telling you, because all through school we're told, oh, you have to do this. You got to go to college. You got to do this. You got to, you got to have straight A's. Your grades suck. You suck. Right?
And they've been hearing that from everybody.
From everybody. Then someone hands you, hey, you want to make 6 figures a year? Doing what? I'm not selling no crack cocaine. Right? I'm not going down like that. So no, hang on. I'm going to tell you, all you got to do is listen and follow these simple steps. And you can make 6 figures a year for the rest of your life. You can provide for your family. And I'll tell you why the story comes to the front. There are 2 individuals that I can think of right now. And one that works down in South Florida at a Honda dealership, came from Cuba. He was a detailer, okay? Detail cars. Kept going to the front. Boss, I want to sell cars. Son, you don't speak English. Who are you going to sell cars to? You got to learn English. Boss, how am I going to learn English? Watch TV. Watch movies. Watch the movies and read the subtitles and teach yourself English. And this kid did that. 6 months later, he goes back to the general manager's office and says, boss, let me hear me out. Hear my English. Hear me out.
He's hungry.
The dealership sold 300 cars last month. He sold 150 cars.
Wow.
150 cars.
Put that in perspective for those that are in the car business. How much money is that?
150 cars. In perspective, that's $150,000 a month. Okay? This is a true story. I hope my brother owns a dealership. Don't hold this against me. I'm going to spill the beans on this. He got his whole management team fired. You know why? There is no way the owner could look himself in the mirror and not know something was wrong. If one guy in his whole team had that much fire to sell 150 cars, all these other guys are doing something wrong.
Wow.
150 cars last month.
What a beast.
Okay? And don't get me wrong now, because once he got into it, he very quickly became one of the top guys in the country for that product.
Right.
And he, generally speaking, he'd make $50,000 to $75,000 a month. All right, as a car salesman, all right? But that's not even half of it. So he had a fantastic month last month. He'd probably do it again this month. But the money that he has gotten from the car business allowed him to start an incredible business with his wife. Okay? Now he has multiple homes. And this is a kid who came from Cuba on a boat.
Anybody can do it. If you got the
hunger. Know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you have the hunger, and you have the way, come on.
How about kicks? Do you get a lot of kicks in the business? Returns?
It doesn't happen as often as it used to.
Mostly financing stuff?
Mostly finance stuff, people canceling products and stuff like that. Me personally, if a customer brings a car back within 2 or 3 days and they say they don't like the car, I don't fight them. I switch them to something else.
Right.
Right, Nelson?
Make them
I switch them to something else, and I make them feel like they won. Right? It's not what you do; it's how you do it.
Right.
Right. But if there's a car, like I'll give an example. We had a car last month where it's a brand new car. They drove it home. The next day it was in the shop. Was in the shop for 2 weeks. Okay, something to do with a fuel sensor. I took them out of the car, put them in a brand new one. They won. I won.
Oh, they're going to keep coming back.
Okay. I won because they're going to come back. The store won.
And they're going to bring everybody they know.
Of course.
And tell them that story.
Of course. I mean, I grew up in a business. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've seen all the things that we talked earlier about, this overall image of the business and sales and everything else. Oh, that's very salesy. Oh, you're like a salesman. Oh, like you're a used car salesman. And I made sure that I would do my best not to be that guy.
And everywhere you leave now, you've left a team that's not that guy.
That's not that guy. And I tell my guys, especially the managers, the floor managers, you're not a car guy. You're a maitre d'. You ever been to a good restaurant and the maitre d' comes around and he's saying, hey, how's your meal? Everything going well? He's dressed sharp. He's looking good. I'm sorry, she is, right? How's the food good? Oh, that wasn't good. Please, let me take that away right now. Okay? I'm taking it off your bill. You're a maitre d' in a restaurant. You're not a car salesman, okay? You're here to serve, right? Your sales comes through your ability to serve. You have to have an attitude of servitude. And which leads me on to my other secret. I love hiring people from that industry.
I love that. They tend to do well.
Yeah.
That and bartenders tend to do very well.
Yeah.
Because they're people.
They're people.
Already.
Yeah, they're people. And they know the size of their tip is in direct correlation to their ability to serve, right? The better service you give, the greater odds for a better tip. If you give lousy service, ain't no tip coming. People may never even come back. If they come back, they'll remember your name, and he says, we don't want to sit with them. We want someone else to serve us, all right? So if I go to a restaurant and I get some real good service, but a lot of these guys make really good money, especially in the higher end restaurants, right? They're already making 6 figures a year. They really are. Okay. So for me, it's if I can hire someone from that industry, I'll always give them a shot because they already understand the core principle behind sales is serving. You increase your sales, you increase your income by your ability to serve.
Beautiful.
So
I always like to wrap it up with this one thing, right? Again, salespeople, entrepreneurs, hitting the 6 figures, about to, stuck somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to run into your 20-year-old self today And at that point, you were good, really good, just not great yet, right? What would be the few key nuggets you would give them, or give any one of our guys that are out there that are in the car business, that are hustling, that are grinding, and you know, they've got potential, but it's still need to work on it a little? What would you tell them?
Do not be afraid of your success. And that's a real thing. Do not be afraid to take chances. Because those guys who took the chances were the ones who really reap the rewards. And that's real. I would have told myself, step out, once again, out of your comfort zone. Because even if you're making $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year, you can get comfortable making that.
Yep.
Because you build this life around that income, right? Okay. So if you make $1 million, you can get comfortable making $1 million. You can get comfortable making $10 million and not try to increase that. Just don't settle. Don't settle. Don't settle. Because had I not, in my opinion, had I not settled, because, you know, I had a home, you know, I was taking care of my family, you know, my wife and I drove nice cars, you know, I should get a new car every 6 months, not necessarily because I was spending money on it, because I was trading cars in and out, right? Okay. Neighbors didn't know that. They had no idea. That's a perk of being in the car business.
Yeah.
Right. But I would have pushed for more. I would have demanded more of myself.
Nice.
I would have.
And you guys should too.
Guys,
sure. My name is Coach CeeLo, and I have helped thousands of salespeople reach, attain, maintain six figures. You keep listening to this podcast, you will be the next. We are out of here. Mr. Okoye,
Thank
Hugh
you, my brother.
Loved
Thank you
having
so
you here,
much,
brother.
man. It's been a pleasure.
Definitely want to bring you back again, man.
I'd love it. Love it.